Raymond, they're waiting. They're waiting for you. Call this meeting of January 13th, 2020 to order for the Atwater City Council. Tonight we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. First roll call.
Ambrose?
Here.
Kale?
Here.
Raymond?
Here.
Viera? Here. Creighton?
Here.
We have a quorum.
So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Officer Lee, and then the invocation by Pastor Police Chaplain Jim McClellan. Jim's here. Okay. So Officer Lee, if you don't mind leading us, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful that we can gather together as a city. And Lord, as we open up this new year, we ask that you be with our mayor and our city council members. Father, that you'd give them wisdom, Lord, as they direct the affairs of the city. Lord, we thank you for all our police officers that are here tonight and those that are on patrol. Lord, we ask that you build a hedge around them, protect them. Lord, get them home safely to their families. We thank you for their service. We do pray for our fire tonight, our men that are in the fire department. We ask, Lord, that you watch over them and guide and direct them. And Father, I do pray tonight that everything that is said and done tonight would be that to glorify thy name. We also pray tonight, Lord, that you give us wisdom, Lord, as they direct the fairs here. And Father, we just ask for that. For we do ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
This time I'll report out of closed session. City Attorney.
Yes, Mayor, we consider two matters in closed session listed in the agenda. Council received information and provided direction. There is no reportable action.
Thank you. Subsequent need items.
Mayor, there are no subsequent need items.
Approval of agenda as posted or amended.
Motion to approve the agenda is posted. Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Kale.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ceremonial matters. Rebranding of Atwater Police Department. Chief, if you wouldn't mind joining me up here. Okay, so tonight, the reason you guys see so many law enforcement in the room tonight, and by the way, this is probably the safest place in California you're going to be tonight, so you're in good hands. The city council wanted to do something special for the police department and our officers, and our chief came up with an idea how to do something to be special, how to stand apart from everybody else in the state. And this is no disrespect to what the history of Atwater is, because the history of Atwater is what's got us to where we're at today. That's why these people have joined this law enforcement agency, is because they came to be part of Atwater. So we're going to do a rebranding ceremony tonight, and our police chief and our officers and our staff and the police department admin, dispatch, all had a hand in the rebranding. So this wasn't something the council came up with, we designed. This is what your officers have chosen and what they want to move forward with. So we're going to have a new badge, which will be a shield, and we're going to have a new patch, which they're all wearing tonight. And this is monumental, because as law enforcement, it's important that we get them the tools they want, but we also have to listen. So when they're in the field, they're proud of what they're doing. They're proud of their uniform that they're wearing. And I've never seen a better looking group of people tonight. Their uniforms are impeccable. Their hair's cut. These guys are professional when they engage people in the community. And I'll tell you, as a mayor, everybody talks to you about what's wrong in the city. And it's nice to be able to go to the Save Mart or go to Food for Less or go to Walmart and be told, you guys have a great police department. You guys are doing a great job. That is like super positive, positive reinforcement for us, and it makes our job a lot easier when you don't get the type of attitude. This community's behind you guys 100%, and they like what you guys are doing, and we can't ask for more than that, because you can't make you guys be what you are. You guys are choosing to be leaders and professionals, and that's really, really important to this community. So I want to pin the badge on our chief and also our new city name tags. We're going to have new identifications when you're around City Hall, so you know who city employees are. When they're out in the field or wherever else, you can ask for their identification, and our employees will be able to share that with you. So we're just stepping it up a little bit more professional, and we're going to try to meet the challenge of the police department, because they're setting the bar pretty high tonight. So I'd like to present the police chief, Michael Salvador, with the new City of Atwater Police Shield. So if you guys could take a zoom in on this. This is something I'm really proud of, because I've always, as a little kid, you know, I always admired law enforcement since I was a little kid. And when I got in the military, I did law enforcement while I was in the military. I did 4 years in the Air Force, and a shield always represented protection. So, Chief, I'd like to pin this on you.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So with that being done, this is not over yet. So this is going to be intimate special tonight, because every single one of these men are going to get their badges, and they're going to be pinned on them. So we're not going anywhere soon. The chief's going to take it over from here. He's got a lot to say, because he talks a lot. But we're going to listen, and we're going to make sure these guys are comfortable. But this is about the men and women here in this room, to your left, or yeah, your left, my right. Thank you guys, each and every one of you guys here tonight, from the bottom of my heart. And I want the council to say something before the chief starts talking. So, John Cale, please go.
I can't say enough about you guys. Every time I see a black and white car in that weather, I always try to wave to you guys. And thank you very much for protecting us and enforcing the laws that we have in this great city. Thank you, guys.
Clean up really good.
Cambries.
Yes, thank each and every one of you guys for everything that you guys do for our residents and for putting yourself in danger for us. Thank you, guys.
Raymond.
You know, having been where you guys are, I know the dangers you face on a daily basis, and you know, just I really respect and appreciate each and every one of you, and you all are looking sharp, and you make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for what you do, and thank you to the families who lend us your loved ones on a daily and a nightly basis. I sit in my house, and every time I hear a siren, I look out the window and I think, is it one of our guys? Is it one of my guys? Is it the fire department? And it's a scary thing. So first of all, to all of you, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud to be involved with the city that you work for. We've come a long way, and you guys have all stuck with us through thick and thin, and that's appreciated. But also thank you to the families. I know almost 24 hours a day, either my husband or one of my sons is on duty, so I know what we all go through. It's a scary thing, and there's sacrifice given by the family, by the parents and the kids, and definitely for these soldiers out there protecting our streets and keeping us safe. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. May God keep you safe and bless you.
Well said, and I agree. I agree that you guys are our soldiers protecting Atwater, because you are our first line of defense, and you do keep us safe. And I've seen you guys in the field in good times and bad times, and every time you guys step it up, you know, I've seen some pretty remarkable things done by every one of you guys here. So super proud, super excited. to bring Mike Salvador, our chief, new badge. Let's get this ceremony going.
Thank you, sir. Before we start, I'd like to thank a couple of important people in the room. One, I want to thank the lady that brought me here. I'd like to thank my boss, Lori Waterman, for her support. Can't tell you enough about the number of times she's kind of looked at me and go, what? But she stuck by me this entire year, so I want to thank her. We have a former chief of police in the room, at least one. Retired Chief Richard Hawthorne's out in the foyer. I want to thank him for coming and supporting us. Oh, Chief Moore's in the back too. Retired Chief Jerry Moore, thank you for coming.
Chief, Mike,
Supporting us tonight.
Mike, have those chiefs come forward.
Jerry, Richard, come on up. And while they're coming up, we have a special lady in the room with us also, Miss California, Miss Atwater, Amber Anderson. I want to thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming to
Chief,
support us.
You guys come up here.
Come up here, Chiefs.
This is about law enforcement tonight.
You guys paved the way. We just get a chance to drive on the road. So we really, really thank you for coming out and supporting us tonight. And at least 2 other evolution of patches.
Right?
Were you the turkey one, or you were the other one?
The turkey one was the first one when we changed uniforms from khakis to the blues.
To the blues.
And then the second one was designed by Renee Mendoza, who was a sergeant here. So it was
Okay. Well, we're moving on from where you guys started. I really appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you very much. If there's anything I can do for you guys, please don't hesitate to contact me and Patty. I just don't want feedback.
I should ask.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming.
started off with a star, and it was a 7-point star all the year. In 2000, in honor of the Fifth Boston
Mike,
celebration,
we don't hear what you said.
they, for 1 year, and there's probably a few of you in here who's maybe still have that badge, but we wore a shield for 1 year in regards to celebrate that, and then we went back to the star again, but just to let you know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're gonna do a special one in 2022, the 100th anniversary of the police department. We're gonna do something special for that too. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. With that, saying that, we're gonna get started. Come to attention.
So awesome. So you can keep the, not so boring. Talk about the police department and everything. Explain history. City manager, go out there and start talking. Halfway done. Yeah. I want to get out. So just to keep you guys updated what's going on, the police chief is going officer to officer, personally pinning their badge on. I don't know if you guys can see it very well from home, but it's important that we make this special, that we don't just hurry this up. I know it may be frustrating, you don't hear anything going on, but there's a personal connection and a personal relationship that's more important, that we do this in a ceremony that means something to these guys, and also for the family and members that came. Once the chief's done with that, and he hasn't really got to talk yet, so you're going to hear a lot of talking. Then after that, I want to have all the police officers come to the dais. We're gonna line them up on the top and down here and get a group picture. And then right after that, family members are in control, and you guys can put them wherever you want for pictures. We'll get out of the way because this is about all of our police officers tonight and our police department. So you guys have full control after we get our group picture of our police department up here at the dais. So, and then after that, we're gonna break after the chief's done with his long speech. We'll break after you guys take all your pictures. We're gonna have some refreshments in the lobby so that you'll be able to socialize and maybe meet some of the officers' families that you guys haven't met. So it's important that we all visit each other like a family. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that we have some new colors on our uniform. Somebody can nod their head if that's true. We went from gold to silver? Yes? Cardoza, is that true? Okay. So maybe even a different color uniform. Is the uniform the same? Okay. So we went to silver and blue on the stripes. The badge is new. IT guy? Do we have a picture when this is done that we could put a picture of the patch and the badge for those at home to see on the overhead after the chief's done talking? While we're doing pictures, you could stream those two things? That'd be great. I think everybody would be pretty impressed with what they see. Yeah, yes, I know. I do that on purpose. Glenn knows that.
Danny does it on purpose as well.
Yeah. Glenn is actually our project manager, but we like to call him IT guy. Do we know how many badges are going on tonight? 30? Can you sneak over and ask her how many? It's 30 something? Juan. 33. That's a good number. $33 badges tonight? 33? Would you guys mind if you kind of keep it down until every one of them get their badge so that the chief can have?
Sworn 5 reserve.
So tonight we're pinning on 25 sworn badges and 5 reserve badges, so 30 total. 30 of the finest law enforcement in the world. And they chose us. Thank you guys and ladies. And I believe over the last 18 months, we've gotten new sidearms for you guys, some new long rifles. Got some new cars coming for you guys. The police chief's been busy with that. better equipment, makes our community safer. We're working on communication devices for them. I think that that's coming shortly. Maybe not soon enough, but we're working on that. So that as they're out in the field, we give them the best tools that we can possibly afford, and we get them what they ask for. That's important. I look out there tonight and I see a lot of guys, and you don't see this in a lot of departments, but if you look at their left arm, there's things they call hash marks. And I see quite a few guys out there with 4 or more hash marks, which means they've been here over 15 years at least. That's pretty special to have guys that commit to your city for those many years, day in and day out, to endure what they do. And what we need to do is pay them back with respect and make sure that our neighbors respect what they do too. This is a law enforcement town, and I don't think anybody on the council would say otherwise. So the chief's now moved to the back row. We have about 10 more to go, and then he'll be up front to. Okay. We won't forget anyone, and we'll take the time it takes to do it. It's pretty special. Jonathan, if you want to come up front, you can help yourself around where you want to go. Jonathan's with the Atwater Times. Where's the young lady from? Is Abby here? You can help yourself around over here too. Oh, from the Merced Daily. Oh my gosh. Eric with the Daily News. Oh, no, Mike's gonna handle that. So Mike Salvador, the police chief's just now wrapping up the last few individuals, and he'll be up here in just a moment. We just want to finish up.
Design, there's the preview.
As you guys can see with the PowerPoint overhead, old versus new, that was the patches. Those are the two patches. So they incorporated the B-52, the American flag, and the water tower, and located us in the center of California, and changed the layout of the patch. You see, before, the old style was the state of California seal with Atwater on top, and the seven-pointed star. You have the shields. Take a picture. Your IT guy, go take a picture and put it up there. You're quick. Echeverris.
Please raise your right hand. At the end of the oath, please say I do.
Chief, you need a microphone? Yes, please.
Mike? Ready? I do solemnly swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of California, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. I do. I'm not going to say too much because I did kind of brief you guys at the beginning, but this is your new look. This is the way we're going to conduct ourselves. This is a reaffirmation of the oath that we all took, depending on how old we've been in this business, anywhere between 4 hours and 32 years. The color scheme is on purpose. It is our past, recognizing our past, and we are now moving on into the future. Again, I'd like to thank the council for their support, the city manager for her support, the two police chiefs retired that came and helped us tonight, you family members, former retirees, I see some of you in the room. If it wasn't for your support, I can't do my business. I can't do my job. If it wasn't for my people's support, we wouldn't be where we are today. So, with that, I'm going to dismiss the formation. We'll take, what, Mr. Mayor, 10 minutes?
Before you dismiss them, I want them, we're going to move up out of here.
Okay.
I want a row of guys back here, the tall guys up here.
Okay.
And then everybody else in front so we can get a group picture of the entire PD.
Okay,
And then
we'll
the
do
family-
that.
Then the family can do pictures, and then we'll spend some time with them.
So, when I dismiss the formation, tallest to smallest, tallest on the back row, I'll meet you in the middle. And then we'll fill in on the front, the non-sworn in the very front. And if we have to adjust it, we'll make that happen. Okay, formation, assume the new position up at the dais. Go. Been a while since you've done that, huh? All right, let's get everybody in.
Where's my basketball player?
All right, guys, get closer together. Continue to like each other. One,
It's gonna feel like a small poke. Felt a small poke. That's okay.
Definitely turn Tyler the other way.
all right.
On your hot?
How's it look, Patty? Patty, take one and get up here in the front, in front of Marcelina. Get up here, Patty. In front of Marcelina. Say cheese.
Do I have reports to do?
Council, would you please join us? Does it frame up, guys? Miss Atwater, come down in front of between Sergeant Ndovetsky and Sergeant Smothers. Guys, point it out to her where you need to be. Get in between them.
Hey, Spo, put the crown on.
Are we good? Maybe. Thank you, guys. You guys are dismissed. Chair
Okay, so the
NASCAR pit crew, brother.
at this time we're going to take a 10-minute intermission.
Where do I start?
Your star. The city manager took your star.
Okay.
Me and Leah were stuck.
Hey, Darren, Brian's taking the train, right? The ACE train? Yeah, that's what I said all along. Willie? Okay. When you're ready,
Ready?
call this meeting back to order. Consent calendar?
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If discussion on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Council, direction?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Raymond.
Viera? Yes. Kale?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Funding and budget matters. Verbal report regarding unaudited review of general and other fund for fiscal year 18-19. Finance Director, Ms. Hunter.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Is that on?
I'm going to give you.
Send it to me on.
Oh, yeah.
Can you send it to me? It flowed a little bit better.
This evening for council, we have and for the public, we have a PowerPoint that is fiscal year 18-19, which ended June 30th of 19. This is an unaudited review of the year as the city's independent auditors. We had our exit interview on Friday evening, and we should expect draft financial statements in the next couple weeks.
Whatever's on that.
This information here is directly from the items they audited, and at this time, I haven't received any adjustments. So when we get our financial statements, we present them to council. This should be what we should expect. I don't anticipate changes. So we start with the general fund, and the general fund is where we pay for our police, fire, all the other general services. Anything that's not special service fund is account. And as you can see, we've done what the amended budget was for 18-19, what the actual receipt, and then whether that amount is over or under the revenue estimate. I summarize this because the budget document, the general fund revenues, pages and pages. But as you can see, the city of Atwater did quite well in the taxes area. We achieved 107% of the actually what was estimated, and you can see that the sales tax and property tax was strong, which is great. The next section is under licenses, permits, and intergovernmental revenue, which we received we received 98%, just a little shy of the 100%. And the next section, which is our charges for services, we received 97% of the estimated amount, just a little bit shy of the 2.2 million estimated. And the last section on this page is the fines, forfeitures, and miscellaneous revenue. And there are a couple there that you see we did not achieve 100% or we were quite short of that. And the sales of real property, that sale, the escrow did not close until after June 30th of 19. We did receive that revenue in 1920 fiscal year, so you will see that when we go through 1920. There was a revenue estimate for a PG&E grant, which I believe that it was no longer available, so we weren't able to achieve that revenue. And on the other revenue that was estimated for 100,000, when I went back through the notes, I noticed that that estimate was based upon the previous fiscal year where there had been a good amount of other revenue, and we just didn't receive it. But on the good side, so if we go to the next page, when you look at the departmental revenue, we achieved 100% of what the departments estimated they would receive, and then our grand total there on the bottom in gray, we achieved 102% of the adopted revenue estimate. That's an additional 283,000 over and above what council approved, which is great, positive. Always good to achieve more than you plan on. The next page, we'll go into the general fund expenditures. This is summarized by department. And you can look there, we put the amended budget in, then the actual spent at 6/30/19, whether that was over or under the approved appropriations by council. And then in the column that says percent remaining, basically what amount of that appropriation was either remaining or if a department exceeded. In total, the general fund departments did not expend all the appropriations. They 12% were remaining for a total of just over 1.6 million. You can see that most of the unspent appropriation was in police and fire. And I also wanted to say at any time, if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. There were a couple other activities that the council budgeted and approved in the general fund. And there was a commitment made by this council to transfer 100,000 of general fund into the reserve. And then there was another 100,000 that would go towards funding the future OPEB liabilities, which is other pension employee benefits. So that's the 200,000. And then of course we had the loan payment, which is an approved loan that the general fund is repaying to the wastewater fund of 196,000. So that some other activities, 396. And then we get to the good part. This is the recap of the general fund. So you can see that at the beginning of the fiscal year, it was a negative 1.691 million, revenue of over 14 million, expenditures of just over 12. That brings a change in fund balance of 2.1 million, which is excellent. And then we have those couple other items, which total 396, meaning that we will see a change in our general fund balance of $1,746,614, which puts the general fund in a positive 54,785, which is excellent considering it started the fiscal year at almost 1.7 negative. So that's a great budget. And then just some of the highlights, and this is just a few. I talked about that our actual revenue received exceeded the budget estimates in the general fund by 2%. The actual expenditures were under by 1,647,000 or 12%, and that we are seeing a positive fund balance at 6/30/19 of almost 55,000. So all in all, a great year for the City of Atwater General Fund. The departments did great. I wish I could claim some fame, but I wasn't here till this October. This next slide, and I'm sorry it's so small for the audience, but it is on the website. This is all the funds. So you have the general fund, which is reflected on there, the very first line, and then we have all the other funds that the city has, whether they're special revenue, internal service, enterprise funds, trust funds, and this will show you what the first column shows what the fund balance was at 6/30/2018 or 7/1/18, which is the beginning of the fiscal year. The next three columns show in what was budgeted in fiscal year 18-19 shows the revenue that was estimated. The next column's the expenditures, showed what the projected fund balance was going to be based upon the budget, okay, so the amended budget. The last three columns where it says actuals fiscal year 18-19 unaudited, that's what we're seeing actually occurred. And you can see that all the funds performed very well. They performed at or above expectation. And especially there, if you look at the general fund, we were anticipating that we'd still be about 1.5 negative fund balance, but we're seeing a positive fund balance. And there you can see the rest of the funds. And the last page is for the non-general funds. The fact that all the funds operated within the approved appropriations and achieved the revenue as estimated, and that the city continues to improve infrastructure through capital projects and transportation projects that will bring us into 1920. So, great year. You'll have the draft financial statements mid-February, hopefully bringing them to council for approval last meeting in February. That meets the state's deadline, which is March 31st this year. So I'm available to ask any questions. You guys did great.
Okay, I'll open it up to the public at this time. Any members of the public like to comment on this item? Public comment will be at the end of the meeting for general.
Rich Miller at 334 Silver Drive here in Atwater, also pastor of the Baptist 1280 Sierra Vista Street. Just not trying to micromanage, it was a great year. Just wondered if you had any more information about two line items under expenditures. One was non-departmental, which had 40,000 more than what was budgeted, and then under cannabis, there was 60,000 more spent than what was budgeted. Just wondered if you had more information.
Yes, I do. If we go back to, I believe it's page 3, which I think I have up here. Sorry. In the non-departmental, there was some items that were actually budgeted to be paid out of another general fund department, but they got paid out of the non-departmental, and the trial balance and everything was already sent to the auditors by the time I figured it out. So in total, the general fund, you know, it is in balance. I've checked this year, and those are being expended appropriately where they are budgeted, which is not in the non-departmental. But thank you, good question. And then the other one was the cannabis. The actual revenue for the cannabis, I believe, exceeded that amount. And I'm certain that that was the cost of getting the program and the ordinance adopted. Right. So I think it was just a matter that there wasn't a budget amendment done to account for the legal cost of establishing the cannabis. So that's why you see the variance there. Is there any other questions or comments?
Any other members of the public to come forward? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment. Bring it back to the dais. Council, you have any comments? Viera?
What is this through? What is the through date on this?
Through 6/30/19. So fiscal year 18-19, 7/1/18 through 6/30/19.
Okay, gotcha. Where it shows remaining on, and I'm talking about the expenditures.
Yes.
So what amount of time is left for that remaining expenditure?
To expend it, or okay. So at the end of the fiscal year, this is just a budget. So remember, we estimate how much revenue we're going to bring in, and then you guys estimate how much revenue, approve it, and then you authorize appropriations. And at the end of the year, any unspent appropriations roll into the fund balance.
Okay.
So when we look at that recap, the reason why we're going to see this wonderful change to the fund balance of 1.7 million is basically due to the unspent general fund appropriations of 1.647.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just because the fiscal year and the calendar year are completely different, so it takes me just a second to
Yeah.
wrap my brain around
Yeah.
it. And then you already explained, like, the non-departmental, why we were a negative 3% is because,
Yes.
okay, something
And
got
I'm sorry,
there.
I didn't
That's
see
okay.
it until we sent the trial,
That's
the
okay.
trial balance to auditors, and then I thought, well, that's strange, but it was really it should have been some charges to another department that had appropriations remaining.
And then under the revenue, okay, I'm seeing you're giving us the under and over. So here's what we budgeted, and I'm back onto the general fund revenue. I'm just kind of talking out loud. So it shows here, so for instance, the sales and use tax, we received 113% of what we budgeted, meaning that 13% is now just a positive over and above of what we were expecting. But then if we go down to 98%, the property taxes, we didn't receive everything we thought we would, so we lost 2% there.
Correct. And
Okay.
then in the over under, you'll see there that the revenue that we came in over is shown as a positive number, and the ones that we were under are shown as negative. So you can see in the tax subtotal of taxes, very, very positive year.
Right.
641,000 over and above in that category, 107%.
Okay. And then I think I had one more question. So, for instance, we do have a couple under the revenues that came in at 50, 60, 70%, which is quite a bit under. Do we kind of know what happened there so we can realign that budget for next year? Are we going to just be discussing that when we move forward with the new budget as to kind of what happened there? I see really on the front page, everything's pretty close. Other revenue, we were only at, we only received 19%, and then there was one line for police where we only received 50%. Miscellaneous revenue with fire, we just received 20%. So those are just things we want to make a note moving forward with the new budget, you know, what happened there.
Yes, and
There were some rec fees, I think, that came in at 63%, but then some rental fees that came in at 192%. So just notes.
Yes, definitely. And I know that when the 1920 budget was formulated and adopted by council, that they looked at the 1819, looked at the trends, and when we review 1920 for mid-year, we'll see that some of these that had some variance, those budgets were brought into line. For instance, the miscellaneous revenue is only budgeted
Right.
20,000, which will be very much more accurate.
And can you clarify when we're going to review mid-year for the 1920?
We are talking about doing that the next meeting.
Okay.
The one issue, and I wanted to talk to the city manager some more, was what that would reflect. And it would reflect about 5 months due to the balancing and the posting of revenue, and how our revenue streams don't come in as same as we spend money. We spend money every 2 weeks, but our revenue streams, for instance, your first property tax payment was due December 10th.
Right.
Well, we just received that first installment, and we haven't posted it. It'll be posted in January. So just wanting to find out if council wanted to choose 6 months, or is a 5 months good? That will be the discussion. Because if 5 months of the fiscal year is pretty good, we'll do it next meeting. If not, do it in February, get the whole 6 months in.
I think that's something that we would need to figure out what we want. My thought would be, so for instance, like you said, we only get that revenue twice a year, and if we were trying to balance and had not received any of that revenue yet, But if we wait for 6 months, we won't have the second half of that revenue anyway. We're still only gonna have the first half,
Right.
so, 5 months, we'll do it the same time we do every year, and it should reflect pretty truly.
Yes, and I will go through revenue and look for, the usual suspects. But, yeah, so that's just a preference for,
Do you have anything
for
else,
what the mayor and council
Vera?
would like to see.
I just, sorry, I know a lot of that's just talking out
No,
loud,
that's
but
all
to make sure that.
great information.
I understand, sometimes if you say it out loud, it
Nope,
connects in the brain a little bit
great
better
information.
than-
Any other members of the council? Kale?
Yeah, and I want to mention Council Lady Vieira and Councilmember Ambridge. I want to thank you for you guys sitting on that financial committee and doing such a good job.
Great job.
I always want to thank you guys for doing that, and it's nice to know that you guys are using a lot of your time to make sure we're doing that, and I rely on that to you. My question to you is, can you expand a little bit on the PG&E grant? Did we drop the ball and we didn't do it in a timely manner, or what happened?
I do not believe that was the case. I believe, and I will do a little more research for you, I believe that it was no longer available. But
Okay.
at the time when we developed the 18-19 budget,
Okay.
we thought it would be.
Okay,
So, but I will double check on that. I didn't get a chance to, I was trying to go through all the budget notes, and the person who developed the 18-19 budget is no longer
no longer here, right?
And that's why it's always good to make good notes.
Okay.
But I will go and look. I've
Okay,
heard
thank
a
you.
couple different people threw some things out, and I thought, okay, that'll be a good starting point.
Okay. That's all I
Councilmember
have.
Kale, I think it was a rebate that the city had already expended all its credits for, but
Okay. Oh, that
finance
makes sense.
director
Yeah, we'll
is
confirm
gonna
that.
be confirm
Okay.
it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, yes, I agree with Vieira that move forward with the 5 months plus the latest payment, which we wouldn't get the full second payment, so we wait beyond 6 months for that. And I think you and I had a discussion that we know, you know, when I say we, I'll take credit for what you know. You know where the department's at. You had the discussion. This started back, let's rewind a little bit. Kelly just got here, but as soon as she got here, our finance director, we implemented with the city manager's direction some pretty normal things that a city should have. And we got track of our finances, and the public works, building, police, everybody started getting their receipts in, their expenditures through, and identified all that. Before it was just kind of, it was like a wild, wild west with the money around here. So I appreciate what you've done there by reining it all back in, knowing where we're at, and asking everybody to get current for the first of the year, because we're now able to have 2 questions that Councilwoman Vieira asked, which were great, and we had answers for them instead of hundreds of questions and us kind of sitting here, you know, days on how could that possibly be. So a quantum leap forward with our finances. Great job, well done to all the staff involved, because sometimes it's not easy to get that stack of invoices on the public works director's desk, and I know that you get a stack probably 4 to 6 inches thick every month, because it's a construction project, 365 days a year, and they touch every aspect of this city, and he's got to code every single one of them, or somebody in his department's got to do that. So great job, great accounting, and let's move forward in the next meeting with mid-year, because we want to get into next year's budget shortly after that. And just because we're showing positive balances, we still can't bring police and fire up to where we need to be. We're surviving at best, and if we have any glitch in the budget currently, which if you're not a rocket scientist, we are anticipating $1 million revenue for the treatment plant. If that falls short or anything else, just not to be shadowing anything, that it could be quickly fall backwards. So things are in critical mode still. We're not flush with cash. We're not going to be flush with cash. We're doing a really good job of living within our budget and trying to meet our obligations, the OPED, with the employee benefits, which the city didn't contribute to for 12 years, 10 years. So we were behind hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. And we're setting a reserve aside because good times are here now, but bad times are coming. So, you know, you never know. It could be 10 years when the next downturn or tomorrow. So we're working hard at that. So I don't want people to get the misimpression that we're out of the red, but we're doing much better. So if council likes that, we'll bring, this is just a verbal report, no action. So we'll have the finance director bring us the mid-year next month, or next meeting. Okay?
Mayor, can I just make a comment
Sure.
too?
City manager?
I just wanted to congratulate this council as well as staff, because we all, as a team, had worked very hard to get out of this negative $1,600,000 to a positive 54. And like you said, Mayor, we're not out of the dark. We understand that. We're still doing deliberate spending and keeping track of where we're going and where we want to be. So we're all on the same page.
Which is great because I think Raymond asked 3 years ago when I first got on the council, what something costs to a department head, and the department said, I don't know, we just get that much money and we spend it. And now I bet you, come the end of this fiscal year, we'll know how much a pair of boots cost at Public Works and how many tons of blacktop we bought. So thank you, Raymond, for doing that, and we've all done a good job, but staff has done a great job and a great team, so thank you on that. Moving on to reports and presentations from staff. Item number 12, making the environmental finding and awarding general construction contract to Rolf Construction Company for the Witten Way reconstruction project. Our engineer or the building official? So if Peretta and Michael, you can go to the podium. That way if we got questions for either one of you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
They put us at the very end, everybody's already gone, nobody gets to hear it.
It's televised, Mr. Johnson, so it is your comments right now.
And all the people that were here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
They've been doing it for 5 years, they've been another 5 years.
Mark?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, this evening is great news to the city of Atwater. We're finally getting to the project, Witten Way recon project that is going to basically start from just north of Broadway all the way up to Bellevue. Back in October 28th, 2019, City Council adopted resolution number 31-2019, approving a budget amendment number 3, amending the 2019-20 budget, establishing Measure B regional funds for Witten Way reconstruction project, and approved plan specifications authorizing advertising and call for bids for the Witten Way project. On Thursday, December 19th, opening bids were taken at 2 o'clock. Through the bid process, staff received 5 bid proposals.
Got all the changes in.
Going through those bids, at the end of reviewing all the bids, we have found that Rolf Construction Company out of Atwater was the winner of the bidding process. This particular process is going to also incorporate curb gutter, sidewalk, driveway approaches, and install rapid beacons, or flashing beacons, and replace a 15-inch sewer main. For any questions that you may have.
Yeah?
Do we have an anticipated start date, Mark?
Yes, February 3rd. Sorry, February 3rd.
February 3rd, 2020. Not 2021, 2020. Thank you.
Raymond?
Well, that was a low bid. Do we have a plan in place to monitor change orders to make sure they don't get out of control? Okay.
We'll have a team out in the field, and also our city engineer along with Madison. Heading the project, in coordination between the General Services Department, the Public Works Department, also with the town,
Okay, City Attorney?
And that's a good opportunity to just clarify for this council's, just to be clear, the principal amount of the contract is $2,223,000. But to that question and to Mark's point, built into the contract is a 10% contingency amount that staff will review all change orders to ensure they're justified and they're necessary. So the total amount with the contingency would be $2,445,346.64, and that amount is in the contract, but I just wanted to make sure that the council was aware of that.
And also, just for the record, also that not all curb, gutter, and sidewalk will be replaced, just portions where there's issues that the engineering determines, so it's it's not up and down the whole street, so you're not gonna see brand new curb, gutter, and sidewalk. You're gonna see a repavement project with some damaged areas addressed. City Engineer, you wanna say anything or contribute anything to this? He's to blame if anything goes wrong. No, I'm kidding, Mike. Who is the design engineer on this, the firm? Okay. And Michael's our city contract engineer, and MVE was contracted to do Witten Way. No, but I want to make a comment on what you said about Measure V and how we got the money and how everybody fought. I want to say thank you to the other communities in Merced County that supported Atwater. We had a shovel-ready project. And as we appropriate Measure V monies, money came in better than anticipated, and we were able to, with having the foresight looking forward, that we designed the reconstruction of Witten Way from Broadway to Bellevue, and as those monies became available, we actually had the shovel-ready project. So Atwater got to move to the front of the line with the approval of Livingston, Merced, Merced County, Las Banas, the Dos Palace, but the East Side projects, they supported us in what we did, and I thank Livingston and Atwater and Merced County for their trust in us to use those monies first. And the next go around, you know, it's going to be those other communities, but we were able to secure the whole amount needed for the entire project, which is pretty phenomenal in itself, and staff did a great job. So great job, everybody, on that one, and that's how we accomplished that. Go ahead, Danny.
Just got a couple questions. So for sure, we are going to do the Witten Way project from Broadway to Bellevue, correct? Because the last project that we had in District 3, I was under the impression we were going to do the whole Mitchell Avenue, and only a few, to me it's a few feet, but only a few houses got that new pavement. So I just want to reassure everyone that we are going from Broadway to Bellevue and not just, oh, this little patch here and the project's done.
Project includes full pavement reconstruction from just north of Broadway, where the pavement goes from Great to Juniper. And that full reconstruction goes to Juniper.
Does a thing to Broadway.
Juniper north to Bellevue. There's selected portions of
Even the whole thing, right?
pavement that will be completely replaced. As far as driveways, curb ramps, for ADA compliance,
And with this project, it's not adding any additional streetlights or anything like that, it's just pavement, the gutters, and
no traffic signals. There are, however, some pedestrian activated crossings.
I think to his question, Olive's going to get a signalization with this project.
It's not with this project, that's with the traffic signal synchronization project, which is a federal CMAQ project, but there is a signal going in that. And we've coordinated that project to construct the integrated facilities.
okay, and so this is slated to start February 3rd, assuming that we pass this tonight. Do we have an ETA when this is going to be completed? Is it going to be a few months, a few days? What are we looking at?
Good question. So the contract allows for 60 working days. What's in the scope of work? Inclement weather and holidays obviously aren't work, those days don't count. So you add a few weeks to that 15, just
60 business days is 3 months on the calendar, plus rain days.
Okay.
Is that all?
That's it.
So also, there's going to be a pedestrian signal arm, crossing arm mounted in that project, located where? But anyway, we're going to add, to clarify your question, we are adding a Cobra Head city light with a hanging pedestrian yellow flashing light, so when the cars approach, that you'll know, even in the fog and stuff. And then also, we've deleted several crosswalks to make it safer, and we've moved out of the 2 blind spots by Foster Freeze, where you don't have a line of sight, and those pedestrian crosswalks have been moved for better safety, and that's part of that project that he's talking about. Raymond?
Well, I have a question. I'm not quite sure if it goes to you, Director Haddix, or City Manager Waterman. But the way these projects, when they're brought forward, is we're going to repave Mitchell Road, kind of like Councilman Ambry said. We're going to repave all of Fruitland, and we're going to repave and do the reconstruction on Winton Way. And what we're getting is little tiny segments with some little bit of patchwork. So I'm not quite sure how we're getting to this point based on what we're being told and what's being done. Can anyone kind of?
I can answer to that. As far as the communication, we've had conversations with staff bringing items to council. We're discussing a project and the boundaries and what is happening, and then if for some reason that scope of work gets changed, no longer is it going to be hidden in consent calendar. It's going to be brought on and made sure that the discussion is had openly, so that there is the transparency if a project has to change as far as the scope. This project itself, I believe the estimate is coming in lower than the anticipated, so that will be addressed going forward. But the project itself, that's how it was presented, was complete reconstruction from Broadway to Juniper, and then with, I'm sorry, Michael, if you can help me with the term. But we're looking at the funding, and if there is additional funding, we can repave the whole project. Originally, this project was going to be done in phases. Because of the regional money that we were able to leverage, we're able to move this project in as a full project instead of having to do it in piece. But I understand, because your current concerns, what you were saying is the concerns with Councilmember Ambry's, and conversation that I had, I think, with Councilmember Vieira and Mayor, is that you're promoting a project and the scope gets changed, whether or not it's the cost to do it or what have you. But going forward, it's my job to make sure that staff is communicating that to you when a project is changed, so that you can be assured that the information that you get is accurate information, and that's what you're sharing with your public.
Okay, so going from we're doing a full reconstruction to partial or phases, whatever, is that just because of the cost, or I mean, how do we go from we're doing this whole thing to not?
Well, I think and I agree with Raymond, we don't know the nuts and bolts of you guys' job, but when we say what are we doing, and you guys say we're going to do from Broadway to Bellevue, we don't know the intricacies of everything. So somebody from the public asks us, what are we doing? Well, we're repaving the whole thing. But in the staff reports, which things change and other things go, you need to make sure that we lay these things out so that we're very clear and that we're not misrepresenting the facts, that we're overdoing anything that we're saying. We're only doing what is in there, and you need to correct us if we believe it's something different, because like the council, the entire council saying is Mitchell repavement was Mitchell Way, not a couple hundred feet. So that was confusing for us, and we have homeowners that were out there that didn't get repaved that were complaining about it. The Fruitland reconstruction project, we did, I think, a couple of 100 feet there around the corner, but you had to do facilities for the future storm basin. So, and that all went through the consent, but as it changed, nobody flagged that. And so I think part of our job is with these projects, we need to see maps, and staff needs to make sure that you assume that we don't know the changes. And that will avert a lot of this. Don't assume we know all the things, because we get a lot of information thrown at us really quick, and we don't want to say the wrong thing to the public, and that creates turmoil for us, which creates, it goes backwards. So
I think part of the changes as well is these projects start many years ahead, and by the time they get ready to either funding wise to move forward, changes happen with costs associated to the projects, or now maybe more infrastructure that needs to be done that possibly wasn't considered. But that's the things that we should be bringing to council.
any members of the public like to come forward at this time on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment and bring it back to the council for direction. Pierre?
I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendation as presented, and add notes, kind of just what we talked about. So that's my motion to approve what's recommend,
So city clerk, so it's gonna be a motion to
approve
approve
staff's recommendation as presented.
with the condition that
Contingencies.
staff provides council with boundary maps and any changes brought forward so that council's not in the dark on any item.
And also, it would have to include the 10% contingency of, which would, the not to exceed would be the $2,445,346.64 if council chooses to do so.
That's the motion on the floor.
Yes.
So motion to approve staff's recommendation not as presented, correct the entire award amount to include the contingency, so the entire award amount would not to exceed $2,445,346.64.
Yes.
Second.
Motion by Vieira, second by Ambrose.
Raymond,
Yes.
Hale,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 13, adopting a resolution committing the net proceeds received from the TCP settlement be utilized solely for the remediation of TCP from the City of Atwater's municipal drinking water system and requiring, very important here, you guys, requiring a supermajority vote to prevent any future repeal or modification of this resolution. And I'll take this one, Waterman. This city council, as you guys heard tonight on the mid-year budget, takes finances extremely serious. That is our whole existence of Atwater, to get it from the dark into the light. And the city pledges the city pledges funds from TCP settlement to fix Atwater's municipal drinking water system. Council also is directing actions to ensure that future councils need a 2/3 or supermajority to use the settlement funds for anything non-drinking water purposes, which means we're locking this money down so that they can't rob this money to pay it somewhere else, or something that the future councils didn't see. And we've learned from past performance that we need to change our ways. And I think our intimate relationship with the state auditor shed some light on this, and to our staff's credit, legal and the city council, that we wanted to make sure that these $63 million that were awarded to us, which at the net payout is $43 million, stays in the city's water system enterprise fund, so that we will have, when we're done with this in a few years, the cleanest water in California provided to our residents. Basically, every wellhead would be treated, and if we protect these funds, we'll have enough operation money past the life of the settlement agreement. So this is a big milestone for the city, that you're gonna see a lot of capital projects in the water department, and your councils in the future will be able to take this money, but it'll take 4/5. And that'll slow them down enough to where if you guys gotta come in from the public to question what's going on, it's gonna be a lot harder. And other communities have done this, and other councils have tried, but they've been thwarted by the citizens because it takes a super majority. So my hat's off to the council. They directed this be done, and we have it before you guys tonight. And I think, Waterman, you want to add any comments to this? So that being said, I'll open it back up to the dais, and then we'll do public comment after that. Council? Raymond?
Yeah, I think this is a step in the right direction for what we need to do, like creating its own separate enterprise type fund. But I could go further. I mean, any misappropriation of these funds, which is going to be going to fix the water in the community, should be criminal.
Agree.
I mean, there should be an element to that. I mean, I don't know if we could do it, but I mean, you would think you want to protect the residents. That's our job, right? The number one role of government is to ensure the protection of her people, and any misappropriation of this should be some kind of criminal element to it.
I think we can look into that. Any other council members have any comments?
No, I would agree, and I was going to ask council if that's possible.
You want to charm out of that?
Yeah, the misappropriation would be is punishable under state penal code laws as is now. So in addition to that, if the city wanted to entertain a local rule, it could amend its municipal code to include misappropriation,
So
high finance type crimes by the city
how do
itself.
we categorize it like Councilman Raymond's wanting to do? Because it wouldn't be a misappropriation if they got a 4/5 majority.
Correct.
We're trying to keep it 100% in there, and this, I understand, was the most teeth that we could add to protect it legally. Are there any further legal actions we as a council could take to achieve the goal of what Councilman Raymond was saying?
I mean, this is a pretty aggressive legal option. The council can take solace knowing that this is actually a fairly significant and aggressive legal option. The other option would be, as I said, if there was misappropriation of these funds, and notwithstanding this resolution, there are significant financial criminal laws on the books in California that the state could use. Other than that, the city could, if directed, look into adopting something to its municipal code that would have to generally make misappropriation of funds punishable by the city. The problem is those would be limited to either misdemeanors or infractions under state law. So the best punch may be the penal code remedies.
Okay.
So now, if they were based on this resolution in front of us, any supermajority vote would supersede then. Because I mean, how would you pin down misappropriation at that point if all it takes is a supermajority vote?
So if there were 4/5 vote in a future council, so you had 4 out of 5 council members, by definition that wouldn't be a misappropriation because they were able to lawfully take that money out of the fund per this resolution. When I think of misappropriation in this context, it would be notwithstanding the fact the council did not have a 4/5 vote. Someone in city leadership decided to use the funds or transfer the funds. That would be the level of the misappropriation that we would be looking at here.
So I think the goal of this council, I mean, from the discussions we've had in the past, it would be we want to make sure this is protected no matter what. So that way council can't use it somewhere else.
Agreed. Question to legal. With finance department, as we appropriate and we approve budgets, we could add legal verbiage into that also about funds. Is that not true? Or is this 4/5 was superseding that we put in the
So
budget?
kind of like what I'm looking at, I mean, it's kind of just like an enterprise fund, right? We're like Atwater used to do, councils prior would be rob Peter to pay Paul from the enterprise funds, which was illegal. That's why we got in trouble in the city. And so I want to make sure that this money does not go anywhere other than where it's supposed to go. And that's what I want to figure out. How do we do that and make it stick? Because this is the future,
Right.
for the kids and everything, and just going forward, right?
Yeah, so this is going to operate like an enterprise fund in the sense that it's been earmarked and tagged exclusively for a particular purpose. Requiring binding future councils for a unanimous vote, even if there was a unanimous vote requirement here, theoretically, if there was a unanimous vote of the council, they could shift the purpose of the funds. This is a fairly aggressive option that the city is using to safeguard these funds. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same kind of state law constraints that enterprise fund money would be constrained by, Prop 218, that sort of thing. So the city, unfortunately, is in a position, fortunately and unfortunately, because this council has the wisdom and the foresight to protect it, unfortunately, because the state, on the local level, it doesn't have the same hooks that the state has. So balancing those things, that's kind of where we say.
So I hate most government and new laws and regulations, but is there a way to do something local that could protect the funds then?
So I agree with you, but let me ask you this. What stops future council from changing that law?
Nothing, because you can't bind a future council to something. So you get down a slippery slope. So I think,
But the transparency is they would have to come in front of the public.
yeah,
and
I
the
think
public
for
would
all
have
general
to-
purposes, as council said, that this is the most teeth we could put into it. And I don't love government either, as Councilman Raymond said, but I also don't want to. There may be better councils than us in the future, so who are we to get too crazy on stuff? So I don't know that there would be a better council, but there may be. So with that, I'll open it up to public comment. Any members of the public like to come forward at this time on this item? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, bring it back to the dais. Council, you have any more questions or direction?
Well, I move to make the adoption of a resolution number 3130-20 committing all net proceeds received from the TPC settlement to make it a supermajority vote.
Raymond.
So this will have its own line item in the budget, right, for the TCP monies?
Yes, it'll actually be placed in its own fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with OpenGov and everything, it'll be easy for the public and us to go in and keep an eye on it? Would that be?
Yes, and at the next council meeting, the investment, financial investment managers who manage the Central Valley Risk Management Authority investment pool for all the member cities, they will be coming to give a presentation to council as an option for them to manage the 43 million, and if that is as council so chooses, excuse me, it'll have its own account fund, and then you will receive monthly portfolio statements, and we'll be able to really track it that way.
Staff's goal on that is to keep it completely separate and isolated so that we're not commingling, and that'll, again, help with the transparency for you to follow and track it.
Yeah, as long as we're having different safeguards. So
And something that you'll be happy, if you picked up on what the finance director just said,
yeah,
the putting the money into a different account instead of locking it up. And I've heard citizens before say, well, we put it down at the local bank and we get a 0.5% on our money. By joining this with the risk management, we're going to get the most possible money interest return on our monies, and that's because our finance director is awesome. And also, I want to disclose, She wrote this, and we had the idea, but our finance director executed it, and it was a great job what you did.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Kale, second by Raymond.
Viera,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Comments from the public?
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record, however, is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and/or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Do we have any speakers?
No.
Any members of the public like to come forward at this time?
Something you have to read into the record.
No, I do not.
We're going to pause a second. Okay. Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to council for council comments. Viera?
So I was contacted today by one of our citizens who had a very long conversation with, and there were a couple questions that I wasn't really sure how to answer. So I just wanted to kind of direct them really quick to Lori, and maybe if you can tell me who can answer these. One of them had to do with our flea market. Are the vendors at the flea market required to obtain any kind of permit, business license, or are they exempt from that? There's quite a few vendors out there. A lot of them sell fruits and vegetables, but some sell new items. And this citizen was concerned that that does affect some of our local retail businesses. I didn't know if that's anything that we monitor or if they were required, if the flea market itself has a business license or if each vendor had to carry one. So if you could find that out for me. She wanted some clarification on cars, trailers, and not what that are parked on the road with for sale signs. Do trailers have to be connected to a vehicle? And my understanding is you're allowed to have a trailer in front of your house for 72 hours, as long as it's moved every 72 hours. Okay, that's what I told her, but I told her I would check. She's probably tuning in, so that'll answer the question.
And if she's got other questions, just have her call me.
And I directed her to do so. Question she also had on the sign ordinance. I know that we do have a sign ordinance for businesses. Do we have a sign ordinance for personal signs that are in the yard? And I didn't know how to answer that. I know that. So she may be reaching out to you on that. I think that's all of the questions that we had that I didn't know at the point in time how to answer. We talked earlier about the start of the project on Winton Way, and that was a question, but that was answered earlier tonight. So I think that's pretty much it. It's kind of nice to be through and over the holidays and back and working and moving forward. The numbers look really good from the finances, and that's exciting. So that's it. That's all I have.
Raymond?
I'm not feeling well, so I need to get home, so I'll be quick. I just want to congratulate our county supervisor, Darren McDaniel, on Wednesday. He will be being sworn in as the chairman of RCRC, which is the Rural County Representatives of California. He's out there fighting for small communities like ours, so thank you, Darren.
Kale?
Great job, Chief, tonight. It was a positive thing for your teamwork and for the city of Atwater. I want to thank the financial department. You guys have done a great job. I appreciate what Paul was saying about you guys doing a great job. And I would like to say that my thoughts and prayers are with the Smith family tonight. I just want to make sure that there was a very tragic event in our family, and I just hope we can get through it with as little as pain as possible. My thoughts and prayers also go out to the family of Dave Honey. He was a huge influence to me when I was in school and in my younger years. And every time I think about Dave Honey, I always smile at when I saw him, and he always smiled because he knew what was coming up next. And I'd always go, "Hi, honey, I'm home." And he loved it because he knew that I went off in the Navy and I came back, and he was like, that. He always said that was really nice. I want to congratulate the name change for the Historical Downtown Atwater Association. They changed their name, approved the name change this last week. It is no longer, there was always confusion between the name of the Historical Society and the Historical Downtown Association. And then in the past, they had other issues, and we wanted to get away from that name, and they have now changed that name. And I'm sure it will catch on soon. We're going to be calling that the Old Town Atwater. And it's in between Old Town Clovis and Old Town Sac, and now we have Old Town Atwater. So it'll be the new Old Town Atwater Association. Swag will be coming out soon, so everybody can get Old Town Atwater on shirts, jackets, and hats. And that's all I have.
Ambrose?
I want to start off and saying how it was an honor to be here tonight to watch Chief, your crew, receive their new shields there. It was a sight to see. Thank you to the finance team on the information given, presented very well. Thank you on that. Can't wait until the next meeting with more numbers. Other than that, I just hope that everyone else had a good holiday, and looking forward to working with all of you guys for 2020.
Thank you. Want to put a plug out to Castle Air Museum. There's a car show coming up out there. They got some pretty famous people coming. If you're into car shows, make sure you get out there. Things are on the move and on the rise out there at Castle. Their new pavilion event center that they're designing, the concept design, they've applied for some grants. There's some potentially big things coming to the Castle Air Museum, and also met with the board today with them potentially acquiring some additional land, because the museum's been slated from the Navy and the Air Force to receive some pretty large airplanes. So if you're looking for something to do or volunteer and you love airplanes or anything mechanical, please go out to Castle Air Museum. They need you, and they need help on the grounds. They need anybody can, and this is something I just learned today, that any business in Atwater could go out to Castle Air Force Base and get a plane that is not already sponsored. You can sponsor that airplane. They'll put a plaque in front of the plane of your business or your family or whatever you want. But I think this is a great opportunity for some businesses. They have almost 100,000 people a year go through that museum. And as they pass by that museum, you'll have your plaque in front of that museum because you sponsored that airplane. And there's other things that your company can do as far as helping the museum, and it is all tax deductible. Moving on to the next thing, Dave Honey. We're going to greatly miss you as a neighbor of mine on Fruitland Avenue. And they named the stadium after him over here at Atwater High. Just a great man, great family, a leader in education. He's going to be greatly missed. I know he's looking down on Atwater and expecting good things. As John said, he always wanted something positive to happen in the community, always fighting for it. So we're going to continue to do that. Chief, great momentum tonight. I got to see all of our team lined up except for a couple of people that were on patrol. We've got everybody here?
That was your entire police department. I did want to shout out to the sheriff. The sheriff
oh, nice.
Brought in 2 dispatchers and 2 deputy sheriffs. It covered us from 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 while we did this, so everybody could be here. That was the entire department.
Wow. Vern Warnke, our sheriff. Awesome. Didn't know that till just now. And that's the kind of stuff that we're really fortunate here in Atwater between the sheriff's department and our city. What a great collaboration. I know that the sheriff's always there for us. He's taken you up several times when you needed to go do something. Sheriff and the sheriff's department, thank you guys very much for everything you do, and we still need you, and we appreciate the help. And thank you for participating tonight in what we did. I wish I'd have known that earlier. I would have given you a shout out, but thanks for letting us know that, Chief. Old Town Atwater, cool name. Cool name. So the Atwater, Old Town Atwater, do I get it right? Yeah. Is the association of some businesses downtown, and a couple now off of Bellevue have joined that. So this association is growing legs, and it's all about promoting Atwater and making Atwater better. When you guys did the Christmas parade, the wreaths on all the light posts, the Old Town Atwater group did that, and what a great job! And I think it was a complete. They sold out quickly because we didn't get to buy any wreaths. But next year, if you guys want to contribute, Old Town Atwater's on the move, and we're gonna do some pretty cool things. And there's some fundraisers coming up too. And
Yes.
we'll update everybody on that later. The finance department, killer job. Department heads, great job. You guys are keeping the numbers on track. You're being accounted for on what's going on. Very, very important. And most of all, something really super special is we have a new employee. Madison, you might come up to the podium and saying hello. We have a new superintendent, interim superintendent, which is assisting Public Works. So all those phone calls that come in about potholes, street lights out, stop signs down, anything Public Works.
It's all me.
we're gonna give it to Vernus, and I bet you I know who's gonna end up having to make sure it gets done.
Yep.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you and say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. So Madison Holsinger. I moved to the area in August with my husband. He's a disabled veteran, and he's enrolled in a program through UC Merced. So moved to the area from Sacramento to support him and support him in his future careers. I teach part-time at a community college in Folsom, and I just happened to be stir crazy and looking for something to do, and met some really good folks at BVH, and then of course Lori, and really looking forward to the opportunity to help the city and help Vernus and the Public Works team move forward with a lot of these projects. My background is environmental science, wastewater, and biosolids, and so definitely looking forward to using those skills and experience to serve the community and serve the public here in the city of Atwater.
So when she talks about wastewater and biosolids, those are hundreds of millions of dollars of projects that she's laid her hands on. So she's got some history in construction and running things, and she's no flower when it comes to somebody trying to push back on her. So I've seen her in the field. Great asset and great addition. You guys want to say anything?
Just welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you for choosing us.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to it.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to mention that we're live streaming. Where is Glenn? I was going to give Glenn some credit. I didn't even call my IT guy. So we're live streaming off of our website. We're saving money by doing what we're doing. We really appreciate and miss Jim Sanders. Thank you, Jim, for everything you've done over the years. We got to where we're at because of your help and your generosity. Job well done. And tonight, you guys see Brad Kessler again stepped up to the plate and provided a mobile lectern podium that we could move out of the way so when we do events like tonight when the police department was here. And Brad Kessler, thank you very much. You guys don't know how much he donates to this community. He donates a lot, and he loves Atwater, and it really shows. So thank you very, very much. And I'll take and hand it off to Councilman Ambrose for our closing tonight.
Tonight, we'll adjourn this evening's city council meeting in honor of longtime Atwater resident Dave Honey. Mr. Honey served on the Board of Trustees for the Merced Union High School District for 20 years, as well as an instructor and later the Dean of Student Services at Atwater High.
Meeting adjourned. Good job, Glenn.